I could be all it is you need, 'cause we are trying to find a way to feel. If I could sleep, I'd dream of what we'd be, but I can feel you slip further from me. Oh, it makes it hard to be when you are all that I want but don't have. And I'll run into the sea, follow this heart that escapes me. It escapes me, and I'm lost. Forget me, all I was and become everything. All I feels like heaven. I can't wait forever. Old habits are hard to break. I'm losing faith. Maybe we're better off this way, but I'm still
What's going on, guys? It's been a minute. First and foremost, I just have a lot to kind of catch up on. I moved in a new place, got a new car, hopefully soon getting a new job. And my first comp is in April 19th, which I'm super excited. Definitely getting a video out of that and kind of just really see what we're going to do with that and kind of just move up from there, and just how we are going to progress in this channel and progress, you know, along this gym journey. I think this is just beyond, like, I'm like extremely excited. You know, things are looking up. This is videos actually made 2 days later from the videos of the listing videos you're going to see now. Definitely took some time. I really prayed about it and really asked God, like, how does he want this video to be able to be moved? First things first, I kind of just want to speak what God's placed in my heart and in this video. I mean, if you feel like you don't want to listen to it, I mean, you know, go right ahead. If you do want to listen to it, though, I'd highly recommend you do listen to this video. The process of just moving everything kind of just happened last minute. It was very unexpected. Process of just, you know, bills, you know, mind you, I'm only 20. I lived with my roommates, and, you know, it's a lot. Adulthood is a lot. Just like before I moved here, I've struggled with a lot of pride. The old car actually broke down well, not break down. It just had so many issues. It was gonna break down eventually, and the dealership was like, you can pour money into this. But in my head, I'm like, I don't want to keep pouring money into this car for it to just be like, it's completely done. It was a high mileage too, so like at some point it was gonna give out, even regardless if I fixed everything. And I didn't have what I needed to fix. In total, it was $4,000. But to get what I need to get fixed now was $1,000. So obviously I don't have that kind of money. So we ended up getting, well, my mom helped me out, ended up getting a new car, which, I thank God for her. I love her. In the entire process, I was just mad at God. Finding out my car was like, the guy was like, yeah, your car isn't going to last for after the week after. So like, I guess like this week was supposed to be the last week that the car was going to last. And then like, if I didn't get what I need to get fixed done, it was going to be done. It was going to be totaled. There was nothing I could do unless I pour money into it. But in my head, I'm like, this car is old. It's giving out. Like, it's not going to get any better. And I was mad at God. And this is where things kind of get serious. God was removing, a lot of people out of my lives that isn't supposed to be in my life. And that hurt, because there's a lot of people that I kind of just wanted to hold on to and say, no, Lord, like, I care about this person. I care about, these people that are just going to leave, or that it's going to be taken away. So he ended up taking it away. And not only that, I was in a really dark place mentally, money-wise. Money right now is just like a big, like, struggling thing. And I was just afraid, and I was like, God, I know you said not to move. What am I going to do here? And each time he provided, he really did provided a lot. And I was depressed, and I actually told myself and a couple like people, I said that I wanted to kill myself. I was like, I'm only 20. Like, why is he putting me through this kind of just trial? And a lot of people, I don't care who's watching, a lot of people are going to look at me crazy. This is just my story. Like, and it's going to happen. God is going to like take me up to a place, and I have faith, and I believe that God is going to take me to a place of just the promises and everything that he's always had for me. So right now I'm looking for a job in HVAC. Right now I'm looking for a job in anything. Right now I only make 17 an hour, and 17 an hour isn't going to pay everything, because now my insurance went up getting a new car, and I have to monthly pay that car. That night, I had a prayer group with a couple of my friends and my pastor, and I was just praying. And I told myself, I was like, God, like, I can't do it on my own. I've been trying to take the pen away from you for as long as I can remember, ever since high school. High school was the worst year. Many people hurt me. Many people manipulated me. Many people took advantage of me. And ultimately, I strayed away from God, and I wanted to kill myself. Nobody never wanted to hear me out. So I was angry at the world. I was angry at God. And I was like, you know what? Like, I don't care anymore. I want to be like this person who is going to be so selfish and doesn't care if he hurts anyone else. And that's where I found the gym. And in my head, I was like, God couldn't do it, so I did it myself. And that's where everything went wrong. I was pulling things from the past to fill my ego, to fill my motivation, to give me that drive to be able to do this and that and this and that. And it became such a selfish thing until eventually I came back to God, and I was like, okay, God, I want to serve you. But I didn't fully surrender to him as I thought I did. And when I was living up where I used to live before getting in this house, I was serving, I was gym, work full time. I had an hour to myself every single day. I barely spent time with God. And the little times that I did, I spent as much as I could, but I wasn't fully surrendered to him. I still did what I did, and I was overexhausting myself. I was doing more than what God is asking me to do, and it ultimately exhausted and tired myself out. And it took me into a dark place. And when things just kind of happened out of nowhere last minute, I was just really upset. I was upset at God. I was like, I don't understand why this is happening to me. I'm actually struggling, and the finances is my fault. I take full blame. I was making stupid money decisions. I was buying a bunch of gym clothes that, I have enough. I was buying a bunch, like Funko Pops. I'm buying a bunch of unnecessary things that I could have saved my money till now. And you live and you learn. When you grow, you live and you learn. And I made a bunch of stupid decisions too that kind of just affected me. Moving here was rough, because I made such great friends even over there, and I was living with my homie. And I guess in my head, I felt like I was losing people. I thought like, like nothing would be the same. When I got here, and I prayed to God, I was like, God, I can't do it anymore. of the prayer group that I have with my friends and my pastor. I said, I can't do it anymore. I said that I don't want to live like this anymore. I want to be filled. I want to be in your presence more. I want to feel what everyone else has been telling me they were feeling every time they're in your presence. And I don't think I'm getting any of that. Not that he doesn't want to give it to me, but it's because of me and because of not my full surrender. It's not my full yes to God. So therefore, there are things that he couldn't have done because dealing with so much pride. I told myself I did everything on my own. But when you do everything on your own and you kind of shut people out and you don't show people your vulnerability, even to God, how can I say I'm standing with God when I'm doing everything on my own? Everything that I thought I'd known, I taught myself. I rehearsed these thoughts in my head that gave me quote unquote strength, but it only allowed me to pull from my past, and it was consuming me. Anything that hurt me from the past, anything that the trauma that I went through, I kind of pulled that and kind of tried to like intake it myself and tell myself all these things. The past was just consuming me. I remember the night I was with my pastor, mainly, I was like, I want to kill myself. Like I don't want to live anymore. You know, I'm like dealing with all these things. Like I'm stressed out, I'm angry, I'm just so filled with anger. And I've been filled with anger for as long as I can remember, and I never genuinely accepted good things that people try to speak over my life. And I speak so negative about myself, but in my head, because the world we're living in, because I was speaking so negative about myself, I thought it was pushing me, but it was only consuming me. It was only making me worse. That's not how God wants us to live. And when they prayed over me, I had this sense of urge of like, I can't give up. Like I can't give up. I don't want to give up. Like, and that night too, I didn't even want to go to prayer group, but you know, I went anyway. And a part of me is just like, I can't give up now. That's not who I am. If there's one thing that I know my identity, because I thought I knew who I was before, but clearly not. But now that I am getting the idea of I know who I am, I know I don't give up. I know I don't quit. Here's where the testimony comes in. I was praying and I was telling God, I was like, I'm not giving up on you. And I'm sorry that I gave up on you. I'm sorry that I gave up on myself. So I don't want to live the way how I've been living. I want to give it to you. I want you to take control of my life. I want you to do what you want to do in my life. And I said that I'm done trying to do things on my own because I can't. I can't destroy the ego and the pride that's within me. I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to hide my vulnerability side. I don't want to hide if I'm not doing good. Like, the world that we live in just influences hiding your emotion, influences hiding who you are, influences hiding your vulnerability so that it makes you a quote unquote man, but it doesn't make you a man. It only consumes you and it only makes you less of a man. Jesus cried in the woods. That made him a man. Jesus was a man. We can't say that he wasn't a man just because a man was crying, just because a man was being open, just because a man was being vulnerable to the creator of all things. So I told myself, I'm tired of how the way people look at me. I'm tired of the way how I'm looking at myself. I'm tired of assuming people are looking at me this way. If this is what it means to be strong, then I'm going to be vulnerable and I'm going to be as open as I can. I was telling myself, and it's true what the Bible says, that our words have such power. We have authority that the enemy doesn't want us to know, but we have power over our own lives. We have authority over our own lives. A lot of people are like, I mean, even if people are a bit of questioning right now, like, what does it mean that we have authority? We're able to speak good things over our lives. We're able to speak things in our lives and it will come to pass. Not saying all the time if it's according to the Lord's will, but we can speak good things over our lives. We can speak good things of ourselves, because if we're speaking so negatively about ourselves, let's go back to Genesis. Genesis says, I can actually pull it up. Genesis chapter 1 verse 17. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female. He created them. Here's where the worldly words kind of just comes in, and people kind of just confuse that with just self-negative talk. So a lot of people say, I'm broken, I'm lost. And that's what I used to say too. I used to say that all the time. I'm broken, I'm lost, I'm in pain, blah, blah, blah. And I was watching this video. Some of you may know her, Sydney Trim, a very powerful woman of God. I was watching this podcast that she was doing with this guy, and she said, this guy was saying, yeah, I was once, broken, I was once lost. And she corrected him. She was like, God created man and woman in his own likeness, in his own image. So how does God see himself? So let's ask ourselves this question. Is God broken? No. Is God lost? No. Is God depression? No. Is God suicide? No. God isn't anything negative. So now let's go back to the scripture, how he created mankind in his own image, how he created mankind in his likeness of his own image. He created us in his own image. Now let's put two and two together. If God's not broken, we're not broken. If God's not lost, we're not lost. These are worldly words that have just been thrown into the world, and some people take it in a very like depressing way or in a very masculine way. And in a sense of, I took it in a very masculine way because in my head, my thinking process, just because of the world we live in, and it just influences that word so much, where I'm like, yeah, like I'm lost, I'm broken, and we take it in a masculine way to where like, and that is what's gonna fuel me, and that is what's gonna push me. No, these are just false things. We don't realize it, but when we keep telling ourselves that, it is consuming us. It is drowning us spiritually, and we are killing ourselves mentally. And then when things don't go right, because those are the same people that put themselves in such a high expectation, and when they never meet it, they beat themselves up. They call themselves a failure. They call themselves this. They call themselves that, when God didn't even say any of these things. God said we're called to be free. God created man in his own image, and in his own image, and he is a God that can do all. He is a God that is beautiful. We praise him. We worship him. There are people out there who worship that God is beautiful. God is powerful. God isn't broken. God is life. God is all these things, all these good things. He created mankind in his own image. I'm not saying, I want to like make sure, I'm not saying we're God. We're not God. But we're not broken. We're not lost. We are strong because of the Lord. All the good things that comes from the Lord, he's equipped us. We don't gain these things on our own. He's equipped us with these things. My strength comes from him, not from me, not from anywhere else. My strength comes from him. My courage comes from him. My love comes from him. My joy comes from him. Everything good but comes from him. It does not come from me. It does not come from the world. It comes through him. He's equipped with you the same thing as he has equipped me, because he has created man equally too. I tell these people all the time, just because this person may read the word more, just because this person may know who God is and this person doesn't know who God is, the person who knows God and the person doesn't know God, they're still equal no matter what. God has just said that multiple times. We are all created equally. We're not better than one another. We're here to uplift each other. We're here to help one another. We're here to carry one from the spirit and be able to carry them in the natural and be able to carry them and help them get to victory. That's what we're called for. And lately, I've been rehearsing good things over my life, because for the longest time, just because of everything I went through and because everything from my past, and just I was speaking so negatively and I thought it was fueling me. I was going back from my past and I was pulling things from my past because I was like, if I look back at my past, it's going to fuel me. It's going to give me that drive. It's going to give me that motivation. You keep tugging in the past, you will become more lost than what you are now. Because when I kept tugging my past, it gave me strength, but it was consuming me. Wouldn't you want strength that doesn't consume you? Wouldn't you want strength that isn't going to suffocate you? You want strength that's going to purify you. You want strength that's pure. You want strength that gives you joy. Not strength that gives you depression. Not strength that makes you insecure about yourself. Not strength that makes you look better than everyone else and it just builds that ego. And then when you don't meet that super high expectation that God didn't set, but that you set for yourself, you blame God. And that's what happened to me. I'm not an innocent of this. I blamed God for a lot of things that I didn't meet, but these aren't the expectations that he has set for me. I set these expectations myself. Sometimes God calls us to do certain things, to do what we need to do now. But if we're overshooting, we're overexhausting ourselves. He still wants us to rest. He knows we have a life. He's a considerate God too. He doesn't want us to drive ourselves crazy, drown ourselves to the point where we don't even have energy to do anything anymore. He wants us to do our dreams and our passion. He wants us to do those things. But if we're shooting over, and that's not our season to shoot over, and we're supposed to be here and we're taking it up here, then we're overexhausting yourself, and then we're going to blame God in the end. Not saying that you shouldn't just sit here and do nothing. You're just going to be here at that point. You're just going to be lazy. You're not going to do anything. This is why it's so important to spend intimate time. This is why it's so important to not listen to what the devil says about you and to listen what God says about you. This world is so easily consumed by negativity. When we speak so much negativity over ourselves, we're going to believe it. We're going to believe it. And then we're going to act like, I don't know where this came from. I don't know why I'm so insecure. Because it's you. Again, God has given us authority. God has given us power through our tongue. And if we continue to speak negativity over our lives, that is the life that we're living. And that is the life that we're setting ourselves as. And it leads us to darkness. It leads us to pain. It leads us to unnecessary pain and unnecessary storms that you're putting yourself through. You're called, all of us, whoever's watching this, we're called and anyone who's not watching this, we're called to be saved. We're called to be free. We're called to live a joyful life. We're called to live a happy life. We're called to live a life full of laughter. Not saying that when you follow God, everything's going to be easy. There's so many hardships. God took so much away. God knew the position I was at. He even stripped my identity away. Because I thought the identity that he stripped away, I thought that was me. And I was like, God, why would you strip that part of me away? That's what made me whole. No, this was consuming me. This was destroying me. This was destroying the promises that he had for me. This was destroying everything that he had for me. So he knew that everything has happened. He knew that at this point, he knew that this was the perfect time to strip everything that I thought I knew I was. He stripped it away. And now I was like, God, I'm nothing. I'm nothing. I might as well be dead. I'm nothing. That part of me that you stripped away, like that's what made me who I am, but that's not what made me who I am. What he stripped was worldly words that I was speaking over myself. He stripped negativity off of my life. He stripped pride. He stripped ego. He stripped lust. He stripped everything away that wasn't part of him, that didn't represent him, and it didn't represent anything good about him. He stripped it away. And he equipped me with new clothing. And this is where I'm at. When he stripped that away, I said, I have nothing. And the moment that I told myself I wanted to kill myself and I was so depressed, I didn't want to do anything, I wanted to give up on everything, I had a vision where I clenched my fist on some ledge that I was holding on to. And I was saying, no, that's not who I am. That's not my story. I'm not giving up. I'm not quitting. That's not who he called me to be. That's not who he called you to be. We're not quitters. We're not going to sit there and just take all the pain and be like, yeah, I give up. I told myself, I said, God, I have nothing. So therefore, the only thing that the enemy cannot take away, but I have a choice whether to have or not, is faith. And I said, God, I have faith. I don't know what it's looking like right now. I know I'm not feeling amazing. I know I'm super depressed, but I have faith and I'm going to hold on to faith. I'm going to hold on to the one thing that the devil can't take away. But I have a choice whether I want to hold on into it or not. In order to hear from him, in order to gain that intimate time with him, in order to see the promises that he has for us, faith, believing that he can do all things, faith that Jesus Christ died for our sins, faith that Jesus has always been there for us since the moment we were born, faith that he will continue to carry us victory to victory, faith that he has never once led us to defeat and never led us to astray, faith that he can do all things, faith that his promises will come to pass. Emotions, depression, anger, looking at ourselves negatively, it is all a choice at the end of the day. We choose that thing. It's not that God is just putting all these things in our head. We have a choice at the end of the day. You want to choose to be happy or you want to choose to be negative and depressed. It's a choice at the end of the day. Easier said than done. When people tell you to die, like to kill the flesh so that you can regain a new life, a life full of promises, a life full of fulfillment. I got a new car. And I was thinking, I was like, well, God, my insurance went up. The car payment. I have to pay so much for the house. And I'm looking for a job and I'm speaking faith. I'm saying, God, he's going to give me a job. And I have faith. Mark my words. I'm going to have faith that I'm going to get a new job in the next 2 days. And I will work at HVAC. And I will make more money than what I'm making now to pay off my car payment. Because it's a blessing, because when we got this house, we don't pay rent for 2 months. For this month and next month. I pay $600 to pay the monthly rent. I'm not paying $600 for the next 2 months. All it is utilities. And I have enough to make it the next 2 months. And I'm working right now, so even longer. But it's not enough. So I know God is going to give me a new job. I went to trade school, so I have the degree, so I can make more money now. He's going to take me to this place of more money, of more wealth. But I have to believe it. It comes from me. And you know how I know how you have to have faith? The moment I got my car, I said, God, my mom said we're going car show. She told me, go to dealership, see what they're offering. I said, God, the next car is not for me, but this car is sent from heaven, a gift from you, and that I'm gonna honor that car like it's yours, just like how I honor this room and this house. This house is his because it was a blessing, it was a gift, but this is his house. So I make sure I take care of it. I make sure I do what I need to do because this is his house. That car, I kept speaking good things. I'm gonna get a car today. I'm gonna get a car today. And I was being positive. I wasn't like, like second guessing, like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get a car today, but I really need a car. I was speaking good things. I was like, I'm gonna get a car. I don't care what anyone else says. I'm getting a car today, and I don't care what it looks like. I got a car, the monthly and everything. This is way cheaper than what I would have if I had kept my old car and spent money. I would have spent over $4,000. That was God. If I didn't have this car, to have my old car, my car would have broke down. I never would have went to places that I need to get to. That was God. And I said, well, how come I didn't get my new job early on? If I had my new job and I was far away and I knew I was going to come here, I wouldn't have made the drive. My car would have broken down long ago. So I moved here in an area where I am called to be in this area. And I'm trusting him. I'm saying, okay, God, like, well, how am I going to get to work? Like, and stuff like that. My car's about to break. And that's, his timing is so perfect. I don't know if you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. His timing is so perfect that it made sense. And as I sat back, I'm like, that makes sense. Because if I would have my car early on, I would have definitely not had enough money to pay for it now. Because I wasn't working for a good 3 weeks because my job was being so complicated about it. Everything happens for a reason. And that was God. That was straight up God. And I say this as an encouragement to you guys, and I say this as a testimony. God is not done with you, and he loves you, and he hears you. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to faith. It all comes down to how much faith you have in him. How much do you truly believe in him? And not only that, do you believe in yourself? Not in a prideful and an ego way. But back to what I was saying, he created mankind in his own image. So everything you're saying about yourself, get rid of it. It's done. Speak good things over your lives, and it will come to pass. But you have to give God your yes, and you have to give him your full obedience, and he will give you everything that you need. I hope this inspired some people. I hope this was able to push somebody. I hope this was able to help somebody. This is just my story. This is, in fact, the beginning, because now that I have given him my yes, and now that I'm allowing him to write the story, now that I'm speaking good things, and I'm having faith fully on him, no matter what situations I look like right now, this is just the beginning of my story. And I want you guys to walk in this journey with me. And because I know God has used this platform, not just because, to watch me in my gym journey, but to inspire, to help, to motivate, and not even just to motivate, but to spiritually feed the viewers who are watching behind the screen. There's more to your story, but you have to believe that there's more to your story. God bless you all. I'll see y'all next time.